We are live in the Santan Valley. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrero, and this is CAC Live on KQCK. And Joe and Joe's a little under the weather today, so he says he's not going to be talking much. But he is here, and he's a trooper, and he's going to get us because this is one of the shows that we have the most fun with each year. And this is the second year that we're doing it, the fourth year of the Central Arizona College Wall of Success. And each year Central Arizona College honors its alums by inducting them into the Wall of Success. Each inductee will get the Alumni Achievement Award, and we have a dozen individuals that will be going into the Wall of Success this Friday night. That's tomorrow night down at the Penn Center on the Signal Peak campus. And I'm going to read you the names. Before I do, kind of explain this a little bit, how this all started. Back in 2009, we had the 40th anniversary of the Signal Peak campus, and we actually inducted over 40 40 alumni into the CAC Wall of Success that year. That was kind of the kickoff. It's tantamount to a Hall of Fame, but it really celebrates Central Arizona College's alumni and what they've gone on to do in their careers. And so we did that in 2009, and in 2010 and 11, we obviously had smaller classes. This year we have one of the larger classes, probably the largest since that first year, with the 12 individuals. Without giving out too much away, we're moving the event to the Penn Center. And joining us in the studio right now is Mitch, Machaca, and Dick Meyers, two of the inductees. Gentlemen, welcome to CAC Live.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And I don't want to give too much away because we haven't really told everybody what we're planning, but right now we're expecting well over 200 people in the theater, which has been recently renovated. I don't know if either of you have been in the new Penn Center since it's been renovated.
No.
It's been a huge hit. We've sold out. We sold out Oklahoma a couple days. We had the Gin Blossoms as the opening act a few weeks back, and people just marvel at what's transpired in the Penn Center. But that's where the event's going to take place. This year's inductees, and we're going to have some of these on after the Thanksgiving holiday. Some of them are going to join us. But this year's inductees include Brent Billingsley, who's with the City of Maricopa, Ken Buchanan, who's up with the City of Fountain Hills, Leslie Carlisle Burnett, who's with the Action Indian Nation and is also on the Maricopa School Board, and also Michael Halfman, Tony Jimenez, who is the athletic director at the Florence School District, Dr. Megan McGlynn, Joe Pirates, who's with Pinell County, he's the PR director, Lionel Ruiz, who used to be the Pinell County supervisor and is retired, lives in the eastern part of the county, Kenneth Shine, who's going to join us tomorrow night, and he's a wildfire individual that battles wildfires and does forestry management, and then Alice Wilcox, who oversees Pinell County, the credit union here in Pinell County, and then obviously the two individuals joining us, Dick Meyers and Mitch Machaca. But the event will take place tomorrow night. 5:30 is the reception. That will go on till about 6:45, then at 7 o'clock we'll move into the theater for a very special presentation. And gentlemen, I'm glad you were able to join us here today. And Mitch, I want to start with you. What does this, when you got the phone call that you were going to be inducted into this Wall of Success, what did that mean to you?
Well, it was really exciting because Central Arizona College has always held a special place with me, not just as a student, but my mom used to work there in the 70s, and she was pregnant with me when she first started working there. So
so it's natural.
It's natural. So she says I'm the CAC baby. So it's great to get this award. And I also used to be an employee of the college. So I've sort of had all the experiences. So this is a really great one to have as an alumni.
And Dick, when you got the call, too, about being inducted, what did this mean to you?
Well, it's quite an honor to be selected, and nomination was exciting, but then to get the call that I was selected was even a shock, but because I had done so much in the community as volunteering and stuff. But watching CAC through the years from its inception back in the late 60s, and it just means a lot. And like Mitch said, I was a former instructor there for welding classes that really helped, and so it's just been an exciting time.
Well, when you look at CAC, when you went to CAC and were part of that, and then you look at it today, do you marvel at how much it's changed?
Oh, yes. The trees and the vegetation have all matured. When it was first done, it was just desert, and the little plants was out there in the walkways and no grass, and just to see the transformation of all of the gardening that they have done, and the landscaping is, and the way it all engineered, and it just is unreal.
What was it like walking into CAC the first time back then when you attended?
Well, you had to watch out for rattlesnakes and bobcat every once in a while. There was all kinds of God's creatures out there that was giving us a thrill. Some of the students would say, "Ooh, there's a snake," or you'd hear a scream from the bathroom, "There's a spider," or something, tarantula, and so it's changed. Of course, we moved into their environment and their habitat, so we had to make exceptions and rules to let them go.
You know, it's the chief now will send out notices. It's rattlesnake season. The weather's warming up. We know that the javelinas will come down, but I think with the growth in Pinell County, people coming from other areas, and then the campus growth itself, those things seem to be far away, even though they're right out back. But back at that time, it wasn't a joke. You really had to watch where you were walking.
Yes, it not only to keep from running into students, because it was just some of the areas were a little darker, but they have it all covered with the lighting, and it's the improvements that the campus has made over the years is just phenomenal. It's a beautiful campus set at the foot of the mountain there, and so I don't know who picked the site, but I don't think they could have picked a better site to build a college campus.
Why did you choose to go to CAC?
Well, the opportunity arose at the proximity. I mean, I was out of school for about 12 years before I went back to college, and out of high school went back to college, and through the encouragement, one of the first instructors out there, Mr. Ken Rowe, and he told me, "Well, it won't hurt you to go out there. They can teach you something." And I said, "Well, I'm sure I'm not the most educated and smartest guy in the world, but anyway, I went and never looked back. It's been an exciting trip. It took me 12 years or so of evening classes. I was working 40 hours a week full time, and then raising a family, and president of a couple of clubs in Arizona City, and the fire chief, and different organizations I belong to. So I tell the story. My wife had to make an appointment to get to see me, so it was kind of a tough. Sometimes to keep up the homework and the assignments and get it all done, but the instructors were phenomenal as far as working with the working students to accomplish their goals.
She's in the studio. She's smiling when you made that comment about making an appointment. She's just sitting there. I think like a lot of people that go back to school and they're married, it takes a commitment. It really takes a whole family to get you through college.
Exactly. Without her support and the family support, I mean, with the 3 kids at home and trying to pay all the bills and make the ends meet, and then go to school 2 nights a week was kind of difficult at times, but it was worth every bit of the effort.
Mitch, why did you end up choosing to CAC? Now, obviously, your mom works there, and you said you were probably there before you were born. Obviously, she was pregnant with you, but
there in spirit.
But it still makes a conscious decision that, I mean, you know, by the time you're going to school, you have other choices. Why did you choose CAC?
Well, I was enrolled in the First Step program in high school, and so by the time I graduated, I already had 9 credits. So I thought, well, I could just go to the state university now, or go back into Central Arizona College on the main campus. But it was actually, I had received a vocal music scholarship and a theater scholarship to CAC, so I thought, free money. I don't think I'm going to turn that down. So it was CAC found me, so I stuck with it and did my associate years there and had a fabulous time, and had friends that went to the universities to go for school for theater and such, and they didn't have the same experience I did. You know, we got hands-on experience with tech theater. We did some shows that other universities wouldn't be able to do, so we really had, I think, a richer experience at Central Arizona College than folks that went to ASU or even out of state for those kinds of programs.
It sounds like, and when I talk to people that have gone to smaller, even universities, as opposed to ones where there's several hundred people in a class, you really get an opportunity to do a lot of different things. And that must help in your career now.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to use power tools, I know how to fix things, which most people, when they look at me, they're like, yeah, well, my theater training, I had experiences both on stage, off stage, and just the friends you make with different areas, because the Penn Center, I don't know if it's still the same way, but it used to house other things beyond the theater and vocal music and band program. So it's actually how I met Rick Adams, who works at the college, who was actually one of my nominators, we interacted in the Penn Center. He was doing some technology programs and also tech theater, and so you just really got not just the experience of what you were studying, but other opportunities to engage with. We also had the automotive folks right behind the building, so we're loading in shows, they're loading in cars. So there you build some bonds, uncommon bonds that just don't do with the areas of study you're in. So
when you have a place, and especially, did you live on campus, or you probably just commuted? Because
I just commuted, yeah.
And I commuted when the university I went to as well. And when you don't live on campus, you need those places that you can throw your books down and kind of call home on campus. Mm-hmm. And Dick's nodding his head as well. For me, it was student newspaper, student radio. For you, it was probably the theater. For Dick, what was it for you?
Well, mostly it was a welding lab. So if you found an empty spot on the top of the welding machine that nobody was using, you just put your books up there, but you had to be careful of the other students grinding with the grinder, putting sparks on there and burning up your homework.
But you need those kind of places to really you kind of build relationships there, and you build friendships that last a long time. It must have been kind of comfortable in the Penn Center then, that you probably went there not just to work and take your classes, but you probably hung out there those times between classes.
Yeah, there's it's a hallway actually that probably gives the most memories. The hallway right leading up to the stage near the dressing rooms, where we did hang out and we would talk and we would wait for cast lists to get posted. We would wait for someone to unlock the tech room. So it's really, that main area is a sense of place for people to engage and to learn, and really common bonds. And I kind of sometimes wish I lived on campus, not just for the fun and excitement, but we'd pull like days till midnight trying to load things in and out. So, but really there was a sense of place within the building itself.
Hey, Dick, did you find out even back when you went to school, the same kind of thing that Mitch is talking about?
Yes. We were behind the Penn Center over there making all the noise when the welding shop and the auto mechanics and the various classes going on over there. And the camaraderie between the automotive with Alan Elliott and Ken Hillary and Joe Heel, the department head, and Var Meyers and Frank Boomer Williams and all those guys, it was just kind of special to, of course, I didn't know all of them that personal at the time, but later got to know them when I come back to teach.
Why did you choose the program you chose at CAC?
I started out on a farm out of high school and had a couple of gentlemen pass away. I'd worked out there 6 years, but I started out and I learned how to weld, self-taught kind of thing, and I knew how, but I didn't know why. And the biggest reason I went back, or Ken Rowe taught me into going back to college, is they could teach me why we used a certain electrode or wire feeder or different application to weld different metals. And with that training, it developed into a great career with El Paso Natural Gas.
When it's funny, I want you to go back to the why. Explain that to people, because it's not just picking up a torch and turning it on and putting pieces of metal together. There's a lot more to it than that.
Right, and there's that, like you said, it's more to it, but with the instruction that we received at CAC with Ken Hillary and the others, the quality, first of all the cleaner the metal, it's like, if you're welding a piece of metal, if it's clean as eating off your dinner plate, then you're going to have a perfect weld if you know how to weld it, put the bead to it. Which actually on the farm, it was greasy, it was rusty, it was dirty. We just stuck it together and we daubed metal on it, and if it held, fine. If it didn't, we re-welded it again. But in pipeline welding, that I later became a senior welder for El Paso Natural Gas, I did over 1,000 X-ray welds without a repair, which is a record I'm quite proud of. And these high-pressure gas lines, they have to have that quality of weld. But the college taught me that, or the instructors there give me the tools we needed to make that happen.
When you came to CAC and started taking the classes and you wanted to go into this welding field, what's the first thing that they teach you?
The basics. We started off with basic oxyacetylene, which is the torch, and then the arc welding the next semester, and then we went into TIG and MIG and all of the different processes, all the way up to from pipe welding to metallurgy. And I took every welding class that the college had to offer at the time, and then the college turned around and hired me back to teach welding at night. So that was quite an experience, because the students that came to class at night came because they wanted to learn. It wasn't a prerequisite for another class, automotive or what have you. They were there, and the questions they asked as a senior welder for the gas company kept me on my toes in my job, because I always had to find an answer. And I would always told them, if you have a question, just don't hesitate to ask. There's no such as a thing as a dumb question, and be sure to ask. And if I didn't know, I'd find out the answers. And there was a lot of questions that they would ask I didn't have the answer, so I could turn to the resources at the college with Ken Hillary and Joe Heel, and the books that we had available to us with the welding processes. So there was always a way to find the answer for any student that had a question.
So you were teaching as an adjunct while you had your full-time position with your...
Correct. I come back and teach 2 nights a week, and I did that for 7 semesters before I got promoted with a gas company. And I think one of the important things when I started out with El Paso Natural Gas back in 1966, excuse me, was the fact that I was mowing grass as a yard man, and then I went into as a clerk in the field, and I got into the welding end after a couple of 3 years, and that's when I decided I really I would ask the old welders that I was working with, why do we do that? Well, I don't know. That's how we did it all these years. Nobody had a reason why, so I said, talking with Ken Rowe was you need to go to school and they'll teach you why, and that's what we did. So it was that experience in itself, going from yard man to into the welding field, and then coming back and teaching at the college was really a great experience for me.
How important is it for teachers, professors that are teaching the welding classes to stay sort of abreast in their field? And then how important is it for people to go to school to get proper training instead of just picking up a torch and thinking they can do this?
Well, that's a good point, and the best part about it, the facilities that they had were all modern, the equipment was new, the resources for education or learning why you use the different processes with the instructor's help. You could research any part and find. And then at that time, the Alaskan project was going on, so I had to write a term paper on that project, and that helped me a lot.
The pipeline
Part of it, and the different processes, the preheating and post-heating of the pipes, and all of the different things that are required for that high tensile steel to not freeze and break. Because different tensile strengths of different steels, and there's so much in that field that I didn't know that I finally learned as far as through the college with all the instruction we received, and then the practice that we received. You go to an hour lab and then 2 hours of welding, the practice, so you become quite proficient at doing it. And then, like I said, the resources, the books available, and the other things that you could access to get your training and to learn. And the homework, like I said, but with 3 kids and a wife at home, it was kind of tough to do your homework. Sometimes I'd wait till 10 o'clock at night and they was all asleep, and I'd sit down in the middle of the floor and study. But we got it done.
It's when I went to grad school, my daughter was born, and I did the same thing. I'd wait till everybody would go to bed, and then 10, 11 o'clock at night, and it was just quiet. You can get a lot done and kind of focus. Something you said about the welding, like on the Alaska pipeline, and looking at your career, obviously, does temperature play a key in welding? I mean, you're probably in an area of the country that ranges from freezing to 100, 110 degrees.
Yes, it was varied from freezing weather to 120.
Wow.
We actually did some work at Ajo one time when the mine went down on shutdown, and they didn't come back to work. They went out on strike. So we spent 14 weeks at Ajo welding on repairs, doing some maintenance work and stuff. And the people that came in to hydrostatic test the pipe that we'd welded up to make sure it wouldn't rupture when they put gas pressure in it, had a temperature recorder, and they recorded 146 degrees with this recorder. They had to set it up in the cab of the pickup to keep it from going off the chart. And I can remember welding on those pipes all day long. We was working 8, 10-hour days. And literally I would come back to the motel and sit on the commode there and put my feet over in the bathtub. They were that close, and I'd just turn the cold water on and go out before I'd go outside and get the garbage can full of ice out of the ice machine and pour in there, and I'd soak my feet for an hour before I'd even take a shower or go to dinner. So we went. It involves quite a bit of extreme of the different temperatures. The Alaskan I never did work on, but read quite a bit of stuff on it, and they were the opposite end of the spectrum, so it made it quite interesting to see how they handled the temperature extremes versus what we had with the high heat.
Are the techniques different when you go from hot weather to cold weather, to the actual welding part?
No, the welding technique is the same. You just have to be careful on you have to keep your pipe in the cold temperatures. You have to keep it warm by preheating and keep a torch going while you're welding on it, even to keep the welded portions at a certain temperature so the metal molecules will not get separated, so they stay together. And there's a lot of different little tricks you do to make that happen, but it's about the same. You just have in the cold country, it's not good, or in the hot country, you don't have to worry about doing all that extra work to keep it warm.
You're listening to CAC Live. Tom D. Camillo along with Joe Carrera. We're visiting with two of the CAC Wall of Success inductees. The event will take place tomorrow night in the Penn Center. Mitch Machaca and Dick Meyers. And Mitch, at CAC, talk about your career at CAC and why you chose the field that you chose.
Well, I thought that, like any good theater student, I was going to be the next Broadway star out of Casa Grande, Arizona. But when that didn't happen, I had to find something else. And actually, I did my time at CAC as a student and really had some great experiences, but thought, if I'm going to go on to the university, I need to see if I really want to try this acting, theater, arts thing. And I did. And I was fortunate to be cast in a couple of things, and it was not like academic or community theater. It was a lot of work, and people yelled at you, and it wasn't the fun that I had.
What were you cast in?
It was a show about Frank Lloyd Wright's history, and I actually didn't finish the run because I was like, this is too not for me. So I actually had to make a choice in between CAC and the university, and actually got a job in the Parks and Recreation Department in Casa Grande, teaching children's theater and creative movement for 3- and 4-year-olds. I also did preschool. God love preschool teachers. Until I finally landed a job at the Historical Society in Casa Grande and ran some outreach and education programs there, and then was interim director. But then grew into some state work at the State Humanities Council, and then actually landed back at Central Arizona College as the public events manager with the Arts in the Desert series and working with the college programs. And really that's when I first noticed what arts could do in communities, that it wasn't just entertainment, it wasn't luxury, it really could make some changes. Had some great experiences with the Aravaipa campus, bringing some arts programming to that part of Pinal County, and then was nabbed up by the State Arts Commission and worked there for a few years, really getting to see the entire state and what arts can do, especially in rural communities, as our state makeup is bizarre. I now live in Washington, D.C., and I'm always like, we have 15 counties in Arizona, and 65% of the state population lives in one of them, and it blows their mind, because Kentucky, I think, is like 110 counties, so... But now I am in D.C. and working as an advocate for the arts on a national level, and I work to, the organization I'm with ensures that music education is in schools across the country. So it's been this career sort of on accident. I didn't know you could make a career unless you were performing or creating or painting, and it's been great. So while I don't perform on a regular basis, I still have a career in the arts, and really Central Arizona College and the vocal music program really helped me learn some of those skills. It was a work study with Kim Fryermuth, who was the choir director, I believe 2 directors ago, and had a long tenure there. So that is sort of my career in a nutshell.
And does that go back to the opportunity to learn a lot of different things that allows you to do this today, because CAC was a smaller facility really to go to?
Yeah, my last year at CAC as a student, the theater director, Cass Foster at the time, and the tech director, who was an adjunct, said, "You're now our production manager." And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Was that Norm?
No, Norm came after.
Okay.
But it was a lot of the admin side, sort of company management, as well as managing the shop and just making sure that some productions ran smoothly. And it really taught me a management style that I use now. I'm now the chief operating officer of an organization called Chorus America, and I now use some of those skills that I learned in 1990, whatever it was, to today. So I've always pulled those experiences. And when I worked at the college, that's when Norm was actually the tech director there. Hopefully he's listening in Sierra Vista. And it was another layer of experience, again, with management and running things. And when you have the 710-seat auditorium as your main concern, it's a great responsibility, and to see how people interact with the arts, especially in student and community populations.
Talk about Chorus America. That's the group that helps advocate for music in the schools?
Yeah, so we are, I've only been there a month, so it is the professional development, research, and advocacy organization for choruses, professional academic, and community choruses, and our research shows there's about 200,000 choruses in America, so we are their go-to people, but our main advocacy arm is to make sure that choruses and music education are still in schools, as it's the first thing to be cut. I was glad to hear earlier that here in Pinal County there's still music programs. Some communities are not as lucky. And before that, I was with Americans for the Arts, which is the national arts advocacy organization that, lobbies Congress for public funding for the arts and then leverages private sector funding for local, state, and federal funding.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue visiting with Mitch Machaca and Dick Meyers, two of the CAC Wall of Success inductees. You're listening to CAC Live on KQCK in the Santan Valley.
Are you experiencing computer problems? Is your computer running slow, bogged down with viruses and spyware? You need a reliable and knowledgeable, trustworthy computer service company. Contact Computers, Networks, and More, located in Santan Valley. Get your computer or laptop running in top condition by a certified technician with 20-plus years experience and beta tester from Microsoft. Computers, Networks, and More provides repairs and solutions to any computer-related issue, whether it's software, installation, troubleshooting, updates, or tune-ups. You can trust Computers, Networks, and More. Contact Jeff Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to schedule an appointment. We can have you up and running quickly, usually within 48 hours. Located in Santan Valley, Computers, Networks, and More. We're here for you. Contact Jeff at 480-729-8899. That's 480-729-8899.
Our family pets are such a big part of our lives. That's why Kelly's Critter Clips of Queen Creek and Sun Lakes has been providing pet grooming services for over 10 years. Your dog's comfort is very important to us, so we take the time to treat your pet with care, love, and professional attention it deserves. We welcome any size and breed and feature shampoo and conditioning, styling, flea and tick dips, ear cleaning, nail trimming, and so many other services that will leave your pet looking good and smelling good and feeling great, all at an affordable price. Located in Queen Creek and Sun Lakes, call now for an appointment, 480-655-5066. Kelly's Critter Clips. When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Gansell Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry.
Are you planning on starting a new business? In this economy, as a new business, you know you'll need to watch every single dollar. Before you make any decisions on phone service, call Zentrus Communications at 1-877-ZENTRUS. That's 1-877-936-8727.
Welcome back to CAC Live. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrera. We're live in the Santan Valley. Dick Meyers is joining us, along with Mitch Machaca, 2 of the 12 Wall of Success inductees. We're going to have that program tomorrow night at the Penn Center. Right now, we have well over 200 guests that have RSVP'd to come to the event. There's a reception beforehand, and then at 7 o'clock, we'll move into the theater for the presentations. And it's the first time that we're doing this in the theater. In the past, we've done it actually in the cafeteria, but this is right now. This could be a record-setting crowd, because even when we had the 44 inductees, we had about 200 people show up that night. But this one right now, we could have a record-setting crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun, the way this is going to transpire. And you guys are going to get to be up on the stage at the Penn Center when we do this, as opposed to being up on a riser in the cafeteria. So it's going to be a lot different than what the other ones have in the past. Central Arizona College has 10 locations throughout Pinal County, including 2 new campuses that are on the rise. One in the city of Maricopa that will actually open in January, the first stage of it, and then the one right here in the Santan Valley that's under construction as we speak and will open up in August. And when you hear that, Dick and Mitch, when you hear that CAC is building 2 new campuses, what does that feel like to hear that?
It's spectacular. I mean, it's a good use of taxpayer dollars and grants to get this educational system in place, because the proximity to the towns and the urban areas where the people are at, and then having it spread out, even the urban people can come, or the rural people can attend different campuses and get their education, which is quite important to them. They may not realize it now that the kids that are in high school, but to get that college degree means a lot. And without it, it's really tough in today's market, for job market.
Yeah, I think it's great that the college is expanding across the whole county, especially as the county's demographics and populations are shifting. I just, in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope that they get arts and culture programming. There's a little plug for it at all campuses at Central Arizona College. So I know that some of the other campuses always felt that the main campus received everything. So I think that the college, as they're expanding, has done a really great job of making sure that the campuses, that the students, traditional, non-traditional, have the same experiences as if you were on the bigger campuses.
It's really transformed when you look at Aravaipa, and if you haven't been out there for a while, that's been transformed. It's basically a new front door has been put on, and everything's moved to the front. But when you look at the Superstition Mountain campus and you have that building, I don't know if you guys have seen the building up in Apache Junction. It's changed the culture up there, and I don't know if that's, as alums and looking, how important is that? I mean, you want to preserve culture, but at the same time, changing the culture really does have a positive impact on the county.
Yeah, I think that as an alumni, I just hope that people walk away wherever they go, that they have the same experiences that I did, both as a student and a community member. And I think that those campuses really offer a hub for education and culture and convenings for the community. So I'm excited that communities like Maricopa and Santan get that opportunity, and it blows my mind. I've been gone for a few years, and so driving here to the Santan Valley, when you said, past the Walmart and stuff, I'm like, I know Coolidge has a Walmart. I didn't know what was out here, so it blew my mind to see the population boom out here.
80,000 people in this area with a campus coming is a huge deal. What was most memorable about CAC for you during your time there as a student?
I think it was the people. I mean, it was really at a moment where, high school, you have your friends, but everyone goes off, and those who stay in the community go off to do their own studies. So it was really the people that I remember meeting, both faculty, staff, friends. I keep in touch with people that I met day one in 1996 that I still keep in contact with today. And just having those memories of building things together, whether it be a production or homework or group projects, but the people and then the memory of the place is really what I take away with, and I, again, still have those relationships even today.
The alums, a lot of people, when they say that they're an alum of an institution, if they've gone on to a 4-year institution, it generally is that one. But a lot of people, it seems, at CAC that have gone on to 4-year institutions still have that fondness and think of them as an alum of a community college. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, well, for my experience, as much like Dick's, it took me years to finish my undergraduate degree as I was trying out this arts management career. So I went to online school for undergrad, so I didn't have, I went to a couple classes on the main campus of this ASU, but I didn't have those experiences. So if someone says, do you remember your college days? It's always my college days at Central Arizona College.
So that was your connection with CAC.
So that's when someone says, I get the mailings from ASU that says, become an alumni, but I don't want to pay it because I didn't have those experiences that I did here at CAC.
Dick, what was the most memorable experience for you? Because you've mentioned a lot. You've mentioned a lot of the professors that you dealt with, and it seems to be a common theme. We've done this show over the last year, is that people always remember the professors at CAC that have had impact on their lives, and it's a very common theme, more so than I think at a lot of institutions.
Well, I think all students have fond memories of their instructors, whether it be from grade school, high school, and college. And the college instructors and professors that we had here at CAC went out of their way to make sure that the student had access to whatever information they needed, to also assist them and to make time for them. And it was the other students in the class it was time for everybody. It was a great time. And like Mitch says, I still stay in contact with a lot of the instructors, and also with some of the students that I talked to, and so it's been a great experience to have that camaraderie with those people. What I marvel at is the colleges, the board, the administration, the staff, and all of that, their ability to keep up with the technology that needs to be for the jobs that they have in the area. Like when Hecla Lakeshore Mine come in years ago, they put on some extra welding classes. Then we started building the police academy out there and the racetrack, or the test track, where they could train and do all of those things. The college has always been one step or right in step with whatever is needed to be taught on campus. Whichever campus of the 10 it is, they will get that facility up and running so that they can meet the needs of the population in the community.
Do you think that's a testimony to the flexibility of CAC and community colleges compared to four-year institutions?
Exactly. It's not the same. They have a regimented program at the four-year colleges, whereas the community college is flexible and can adapt to the needs of the community and the population of the area. And that's what I marvel at it, because whether it's on the Apache Junction or Vipa or Signal Peak, even Maricopa, the needs may be a little bit different in each community, and the college will move those classes around or get them organized where they can take care of the needs of the community as well as the students.
It seems like at four-year institutions, because of the way it goes through curriculum, that it takes years. You have an idea, but it takes years to kind of get these classes or programs through, where at a CAC, especially at CAC, that they have an idea, like you said, here's a need, let's do it.
Yeah, when they did the nursing program for the hospital, there's a great need for nurses, and like I said, the welders that are needed at the mine, and all of the other police and fire training, the fire science classes that they put on when the certification became required for firefighters and peace officers. They come right forward to the front and got on the ball and got those programs in place to have it right here in our community here.
How important was it for the employees to have that can-do attitude to be able to make that happen?
Well, I think that's a key important to drawing businesses to the area, is because of the fact that we can have the flexibility to teach or meet the needs of the job force, the job market. Whatever they need, the college is willing to work to get those people in place, get them trained, and give them the instruction and degrees so that they can go to work in the local area.
Mitch, is that what you saw too, from the professors when you were in the program at CAC? This kind of can-do attitude, that they were willing to help students, they had ideas, they would come up with classes if they needed it. Did you see all that when you were going through?
Yeah, what's interesting is when I started off at CAC, if I was having trouble with an assignment or fellow classmates were having troubles with assignments, the professors would say, okay, look, so maybe this report isn't the way you need to do it, but I need you to get the information out to me in some way. I'm willing to work on it in a different way. If you need to orally tell your report, if you need to do it in some different way, they were always willing to give you that alternative. I find at the State University, especially with online classes, you don't have that flexibility. And even my in-person, it was, no, this is how the curriculum is, and this is the standard. So I think that the CAC and I think community colleges in general have flexibility to be able to offer those alternatives to their classes because the class sizes are different, the makeup is different, they know you from the community. It's not just like you're, one person in a lecture hall of 200 people. So you get that intimacy with the professors.
Dick, you were nodding your head. So the professors at CAC really played to your strengths.
Yes, they brought the best out of everybody that my associations. They just were flexible and made sure that you understood what they were trying to teach, and then they give you the latitude to, like Mitch said, to present your oral presentation or write it down on paper, whatever it took to get the job done and get you through the class. It was wonderful.
Yeah, the two of you went at different times, and even now today, even the students going, it's still you still see it. Why do CAC professors do what they do? Why do they go the extra mile? Is it just the people they hire? Is it the culture? Is it just that they care so much? It's spanned generations. I mean, it still continues today.
Well, as having a family member who is one of those professors, I just think it's the culture. I think that the college, and even when I worked on staff at the college, there is just that opportunity given from the administration to take risks, to try things. That family value is there. I think that there's less pressures for a community college professor versus a university professor. I find colleagues that are now university professors that it's a dog-eat-dog world there, and they're there to get their job done, to make a case, to get tenure, to do all that. And the community college, once you're hired and you get a contract and you can make it your own. The class is your own. So I think that the administration and the faculty leadership really gives every faculty member, whether it's full-time or adjunct, the opportunity to be creative and to make these courses and these classes their own versus saying, oh, this is how we did it back in the day, this is how you'll do it now. So I think that flexibility is really there for faculty, and also that the college offers non-traditional programs. The weekend college is a really great thing. You got students showing up on a Saturday morning, giving up their whole Saturday. You can't do it the same way that you would do it on a 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. You have to be able to engage with those students who are there giving up their Saturday and also are multi-generational. So you've got that diversity happening within the classes, I think, at CAC and have been. So I think that that's another reason why the professors here at the college are able to give that special attention.
And your mom, Mary Machaca, who was creative in doing I believe it was a Spanish class at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. It was 6 a.m. in the morning, and it filled up, and people came. And because you wouldn't see that probably at a four-year institution.
No, it's amazing because in community colleges, and I think we touched on this, and when I was with the State Arts Commission, our biggest ally were the community colleges in the 15 counties across the country because it is rooted. I mean, they're called community colleges for a reason. They're there to serve the community, not just the academic community, but the general community. So you'll have people who are going after their academic degrees, but you'll also have someone who says, I live in Arizona, maybe I should learn some Spanish. So they can go to that 6 a.m. thing before they go off to work, and it doesn't interfere with their daily routines.
Dick, if you look at the professors when you had them, is I guess somewhat of the, I don't want to say autonomy, but they were allowed to teach as opposed to falling into, here's our program, you do it this way, which made for a better classroom and learning environment.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing. What Mitch talked on a while ago is about the 200 in a auditorium-type classroom. We have more one-on-one with smaller-sized classes. And what I noticed as an instructor when we run up against the work schedule for the Heckler Lakeshore mine people, we started class 6 to 9. Well, half the enrollment couldn't come at 6 to 9, so we bumped it up in 7 to 10 and filled the class up. So the administration, the instructors, and everybody is flexible enough to go from a 6 a.m. to whatever time period it needed, and Saturdays included, to meet the needs of the student. And it's not necessarily that way in a regimented four-year institution.
When you see a college set up a class at 6 a.m. or change a time of a class, what does that say to the community?
We're here, we're willing to do what needs to be done to serve the community. That's our job here, is to serve the community and to meet the needs of our community and the workforce needs of the employers. So the thing that also we touched on was the instructors. Each semester, they would be an evaluation form, and there was 2 or 3 administrators come in and interview you or talk to you and make sure you were getting the things you needed, in addition to evaluating your performance by talking to the students in your class. The students all have to fill out an evaluation sheet on their instructors. So that way, both the instructor understands that he's doing his job, and that the administration knows that the students are appreciative of that type of learning environment that they're in, and whether the instructor's doing the good job or not. And so by that, they keep I don't know what the turnover rate for instructors, but I know most of them have been there for years.
A lot of them have been there for years and retired, not gone on to other positions. They seem to stay there. You listen to CAC Live. Tom D. Camillo along with Joe Carrero. Joe is under the weather today, so he is not taking phone calls, but we appreciate, we know there's a lot of people trying to call in, and actually he stepped outside because I know he's really not feeling well. But what we're going to feel well tomorrow night is this event that's going to take place in the Penn Center. It's the CAC Wall of Success. It's the 4th annual CAC Wall of Success. Each inductee will receive the Alumni Achievement Award, which will be presented to them. The first time that it'll be in the theater. When you found out that this was going to be in the Penn Center, is a little bit more nervous for the both of you as opposed to being in the cafeteria?
No, I felt like it was a
you've been on
homecoming.
its homecoming,
so, I mean,
right?
I've been on that stage before, so, I mean, it's great that they renovated it, but I think my name is in some places in that building. So I'm excited to be back at the Penn Center. It'll be hard to break out in song and dance. Maybe my fellow inductees will join me in a chorus line. No, just kidding. But, no, it's exciting. So, for me, it really feels like a homecoming because that building in general means so much to me in my CAC experience.
Since I haven't been involved that much in the last few years with the either one of the buildings, when we used to have archery club meetings, the Central Arizona Bowhunters would meet in the cafeteria upstairs, and I've been in the Penn Center many times, and I know Dr. Pence, when I'd get my allergy shot, he would work with Ironwood, and he would come in and get allergy shots, and usually sometimes we'd sit there and converse about things going on at the college, but normally it was about his hobby with working with Ironwood. And so here's the president of the college associating with a student per se, and then later an instructor, but it was just that small town atmosphere that we grew up with, that made it so that everybody in this community in the area is part of the community, whether it's college or what have you.
I think it's one of the things that with the new president, Doris Helmich, who's been there for a while, she has that same kind of philosophy, this open door, people come in, students can come in, very welcoming, which kind of plays on the whole history of what CAC was built on. How important is that for students to be able to walk in and talk to a president or an administrator and not feel intimidated?
I think it's great because of the fact that in today's world, you don't have access to those type of people as a student or as sometime even business person, and for the open door policy that the college has, it's just wonderful because if you have, I don't think anywhere that you can go you can't express your opinion or talk to somebody about what your needs and to do in the community.
Yeah, my memories of CAC, with students and faculty, but it's also the administration. I remember having just casual conversations with the college president who came to see something that the choir did. And so you have those interactive moments. I don't think I've ever seen Michael Crow at ASU in person before. So to have that experience with the administration, I think is very important for people who are attending college.
How was it? Both of you were students, and then both of you worked in a capacity for the college. What attracted you to be able to work for the college? Is it what you saw as a student, or was it something else?
Well, the position that I held, which was the public events manager, was something that, as a student in the creative arts division, we worked closely with. And I always said, if that job came available, I'd want it. And then the job came open. And so I applied and was living in Phoenix at the time, so made the commute from downtown Phoenix on a daily basis. And just loved every moment of it. The college, though, went into a different direction with the area, and then I moved on to the State Arts Commission. But it was the position, it was what the job could do with the community, as well as how it tapped into the academic setting. There was a great camaraderie between faculty and staff who don't have relationships with the students on a daily basis. And the faculty was always there to remind us that, first, we're here for student population. So my area and my position allowed for student engagement with the arts and culture sector as well as the general community. So it was the position and something I always saw as a student there in that area. And I think now it's community events is the department. And so it was a great opportunity to blend a couple of my interests as I saw as a student.
And you were an adjunct.
It was a wonderful experience. It even helped me in my job requirements for El Paso Natural Gas. And every time I completed a class, I sent it everything that we did to the Human Resources Department to get it on my employment records. And certainly the teaching portion of it for me was to fill a need that to help the welders and stuff for the pipeline welders and people that come at night that wanted to learn. And so I really kept me on my toes in my job and helped me to advance with a gas company into management because of the additional classes that I come back after welding and took in management, and those classes got me promoted into supervision for the gas company. Did
teaching in a classroom setting help you teach younger people that were in the company? Did you kind of treat them that way once you got that experience teaching?
Yes. The apprenticeship program that we have with El Paso was you earned your dues. In other words, you started at the bottom, just like I started mowing grass, and you work up to superintendent of the whole northwest corner of Arizona. But that in itself, the training that you get from teaching students also makes you a better public speaker. It makes you more confident in doing your job and filling a need for the community.
Make you a better leader?
Make you a better leader.
Mitch, I want to go back to you did a plug for music in schools, but I want you to give a plug for an event that your mom's coordinating this Saturday.
So there's an art fair Saturday at the Corporate Center down in, I guess it's Casa Grande.
Yeah, it's right on I-10 there, Florence Boulevard.
Near the Cracker Barrel. So come on down to see some local artists sharing their wares. You can even pick up some art for your home. So I actually don't know the time. I know I have to be up early to help set up.
So you came back into town for the wall success, but really to help your mom set up the art show.
Yeah, so that was the main focus. So yeah, so there is an art show, and I think it's on the college website, so they can check it out there under the events section. You can check
events at cac.com on Eventbrite, and it does has all the information. So it's something that she's been doing for a couple of years over at the Corporate Center. Growing up in that environment with your mom's involvement with art, obviously that must have had an impact on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and it's also my dad. My dad, I just recently became an adjunct instructor in ceramics at the college, so it is a family affair at CAC. So both of them really were creative folks and really helped shape up. I know most of my friends and colleagues in the arts who wanted to be that next Broadway star out of their hometown parents really disapproved. And mine were like, as long as you don't do drugs and ditch school, we don't care what you do. No, they were a little more loving than that, but really encouraged my creative side. And I think, you know, if I wanted to try to be a starving actor and wait tables, they would support me just the same way as they do when I said, hey, I'm moving across the country now and I'll see you a couple times a year. They really have always been very encouraging about my career in the arts. And my dad, who is now retired and now doing this on as a part-time, also is trying to make his way with ceramics and to be an artist, so he'll also be at the art show on Saturday. So I've always had it around me and have been very grateful because I have, again, friends who weren't so lucky with their family when they made these decisions.
How long have you lived in D.C. now?
3 years.
Okay, so and before that, primarily out in the Arizona.
Yep. So I born and raised in Arizona. Actually born in Tucson. Lived in Casa Grande and as well as in Chandler. And then we did a short stint in LA as a family. And then after a couple of earthquakes, we were like, let's go back. So Arizona's always been my home, and it's very different. Sometimes I think I'm from Mars when I'm in DC. I just have the West is a very different place, but so is the East. So I have friends here. They're like, I've never been to DC or New York City, but back there, I have friends who said, I've never been to Vegas or LA. So the coasts are very different. I think everyone maybe should just move to Omaha or something and live in the middle of the country. So maybe that's where the norm happens.
It's being that I'm from the East Coast, spent a lot of time in D.C., that the pace is a lot different.
The pace is very frantic. I mean,
and the driving is different.
Well, I don't drive. Thankfully, I haven't driven for
Use the metro?
I do, and actually, I live 3 blocks from work, so I'm very fortunate. And when Hurricane Sandy was around, I didn't lose power because I'm close to the White House. So we don't lose power when you're that close to the White House. But it's really a great experience being over there. But driving, they freak me out. So actually, I haven't driven for 9 months. So when I went to the rental car place, I'm like, I need something where I feel safe. That other people will feel safe with on the road.
It's one of the things I say about the East Coast compared to here, and I've lived out here now 6 years, but grew up in Philadelphia and spent my whole life there, is the vastness of how far you can see when you can drive. And on the East Coast, when you drive, it's over the next hill. You just make sure that you slow up enough that there might be a car there.
Yeah, and my first trip to New York City, I had a panic attack. You just can't see anything.
Right,
and
exactly.
So luckily, D.C. has the building height restriction laws that nothing can be higher than the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. So it feels like a big city, but it's got some low rise.
It's a little more open than Philadelphia.
Although I'm waiting. I flew in last night at 11 p.m., so I'm excited tonight to see the sunset because you just don't see that back in the East.
No, you just see gloaming. You just see
kind
of that twilight, and then, yeah. So, Dick, you grew up in Eloy. We have a few minutes left. Tell us about growing up in Eloy and how much it's changed, obviously, from when you were young.
Well, 1950, Eloy was the largest city in Pinal County, and I grew up there from 1944 when we moved there at the age of 4. It was a population of about 1,500 people, and during the cotton harvest time, it would grow to a population of over 15,000 in a month.
Wow.
And with that become all of the migrant workers to pick the cotton crops, and with that came gambling, prostitution, and all other things along with it. And it was a booming town, but so was Coolidge, so was Casa Grande, and it was all due to the farming, the cotton harvest. And they would, like the old Toltec school we're restoring, it would go from a population of 45 year-round students to over 300. So it was quite a place to grow up. It was a safe place to live. We didn't even lock our doors. In fact, I slept in the backyard in a sidewall tent in the summertime all through the winter. And most people say, well, man, that was a rough town. And technically, they wrote a book about it in 1950 that 17 killings happened on Frontier Street, which is about a mile long from Sunshine to 11 Mile Corner Road or so. And it didn't happen that way. The 17 killings, because the sheriff's office substation was in Eloy, recorded all of the district killings or murders or whatever happened was at the substation, so Eloy got charged with all of them. And
getting credit for something you really don't want credit for.
Right, and it was really a safe place because if you got in trouble as a young kid, your parents knew about it before you even got home, and we didn't even have telephones. And I can remember using the old party line where you picked up the phone. If nobody was talking, you clicked on it, and the operator would ask you what number you wanted or who you wanted to talk to, and she'd dial it for you. But it changed a lot. We even had our ice delivered by the ice man. They put it in an old ice box. And I'm really not that old, but I can still remember back to that time period.
My dad talks about that. The party lines, the ice boxes, coal in the basement for maybe not so much here, but back east.
But it was a booming town, as all of the communities were during that time period. And when the freeway was built in 65 and opened up, it just kind of was a death to most of the small communities that didn't adapt. Casa Grande, fortunately, was seen the writing on the wall and got a business industrial park, which Eloy does now, and Coolidge, all of most of the cities to try to get industry in here. And then the college is sitting here trying to teach the students to become employees of those factories or warehouses, whatever they're putting into the area.
Well, we're just about out of time. Tomorrow night, CAC's Wall Success Induction Ceremony. 12 inductees will be part of the ceremony. Mitch, Machaca, Dick Meyers, thank you for the last hour. It's flown by. We're really excited about tomorrow night. We look forward to seeing you. And, again, it's tomorrow night. We want to thank both of them for joining us on CAC Live. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, 5:30 is the reception. 7 o'clock is the induction ceremony, the fourth annual CAC Wall of Success on the Signal Peak campus in the Pence Center. So for Dick, Mitch, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Joe, I hope you feel better. Next week we will not be on the air because of Thanksgiving. Everybody can enjoy that. But in 2 weeks we'll be back, and we're going to have more of the Wall of Success inductees who didn't join us today will join us then. For Joe Carrera, I'm Tom D. Camillo. Thanks for listening to CAC Live on KQCK.
Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way.